Alright, so in this new tutorial series, I'm gonna build a retro lunchbox set. Yeah, it's pretty nostalgic. So I found this one, and then there's like the Transformers. This is like back in the day, like long time ago. Yeah, so and it's a great example of hard surface modeling, you know. So okay, so I'm gonna start specifically. I'm gonna do this one. It's more metal based and tighter bevels, tighter um, transitions, seams. Okay, close that out. First thing I'm gonna do is go to let me see here. I'm going to create let me see, create free image plane. It's just another way of setting up your image planes rather than going from the camera. So before I used to select the camera and set up an image plane, but this one is just right smack dab in the middle. So here we are, my front panel. All right. First thing I need to do is I need to be in attribute editor. While this is selected, image plane 1, I'm gonna click on the folder. I made a separate folder. I'm in my source images. Okay, source images. So just be mindful of what your project directory is. You know, mine is hard surface modeling. Okay, the current project is here, and I got several of these. So right now it's hard surface modeling. So just to be aware of that, because you could forget where you saved it or what project directory you have set up. All right, so all right, I'm gonna do number. You know what? Let me do number 1, 0, 1. Double click, plop it in. We're good. All right, I'm gonna name this one. I guess 1 is fine. I'm gonna move it on the side. No, actually, let me move it on the side here. Then I'm gonna just make a copy of it. Control D, as in David. It's right on top of it. So I'm gonna move it here. With this copy, and in its attribute editor, I'm gonna go into the folder right here, image plane folder. I'm gonna replace it with 2. Then you see how the size it resizes to conform to the image. I'm gonna grab image plane 2, right? And I'm gonna make a copy of it. Control D as in David. I'm gonna chuck it over. Oh, I made a copy of the original. That's strange. Strange. So I'm gonna click on the folder for that. Again, attribute editor, and I'm gonna do lunchbox 3. Right, so 1, 2, 3. Lunchbox 3. Hit enter, and boom. Then I'm gonna move these guys over for a bit. And grab image plane 3, make a copy of it. Control D as in David. Look at it, did the same thing. Whatever. And click on the folder icon, replace it with 4. Is that the one? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that the same one? Oh no, it's not the same one. Right. open. It's just turned. This one's long, this is wide. Okay. Alright, so there's one more. The juice canister. Select the last one, Control D as in David, check it over, go to the folder, and there's the canister. Alright, open. Nice. So I'm all set. These guys are critical. Making sure I know where my front is. Grab all of it, chuck it in the back, maybe about yay back. The last time in the live demo, I made them a bit too big, so I'm just gonna leave it like that back here. I'm gonna go into my channel box and what should I do? I'm gonna grab all of it. I'm gonna click here, display layer, channel box, right? Click on that icon. By now, you guys should be familiar with that. Underscore image refs underscore save. Okay. Grab it, maybe pull it back a bit. I'm gonna set it to reference so I don't grab it. Always make sure you know where your front is. Space bar. Alright, double check. Make sure this says top. Make sure this says front. Make sure this says side. Make sure this says perspective, right? If this does not look like perspective, go into panels, perspective, perspective. If this doesn't look like side, panels, orthographic, side. So, also, there's times where this says side, but if you look here, if it says something like bottom, and this says side, that means you actually hit this cube by accident and it rotated the camera. So just be mindful of that. I've seen that happen a couple of times. Right now it's set to front, left, back, right. So right is its default. Front, front, top, top. All right, I have to mention that. Okay, next. This thing is made of a cube. So I'm going to create polygon primitives, cube. Yeah. I'm going to press F to hone in on it, to zoom in on it. All right, as you can see, it's at the midline of the floor. Okay. I'm going to go in here to the channel box on polycube 1. Click on that. Ooh. Highlight all of that. Type in 2. I repeat, it's under inputs, polycube 1, subdivision, width, height, depth. Just put in 2, so you get this. Right? Again, select the object, inputs, polycube 1, click it, boom. Type in 222. Alright, so I'm going to press the space bar into my side view. Press F to frame it. Alright. Hopefully hopefully over here says right. Okay, if it not, like I said, click some of these and it'll go back to normal. And I want to place my pivot point down here. I've been doing this for every project in the tutorial series, so be accustomed to doing that. I'm going to press D as in David once. D as in David. Just click it once. Next, I'm going to press and hold V as in Victor. Press and hold V as in Victor. Next, I'm going to pull this arrow, green arrow, down. Make sure you see the green arrow. If you don't have it as a green arrow, it is the W key. So here, at this arrow tip, click on it, drag it down. Let go of it. Now press W to get out of that tool into your default normal move tool with the arrows. Anyway, I'm gonna move it up to the baseline, right? This is why it's important. This is the ground floor of your 3D world, right? Under the cube, it's translate Y, which is just up and down. Y is up and down. It says 0.497. I'll just type in 0.5. That's the exact midline. Okay, good. I'm gonna type in here, give it a name. And I'm gonna name it Retro Lunchbox. But chances are I'm gonna have to do a lot of modifications and make copies and duplicates. So yeah, just to be mindful of that. All right. Now, what's the first item I'm gonna use? Since it's flat, I'm gonna use this one right here. So, you know what? Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'll use this one. I'm gonna uncheck the reference. I'm gonna grab this one in the middle. I'll pull him over here and grab this one. Put it here. Grab that one back and pull it back. Alright, because I'm gonna be using this initially for my reference for modeling. Yeah, and then I'm gonna press R to make it set to reference. And close it. I just like it that it's wide, going wide that way rather than long. And the pivot point where the box opens is here, the swivel. So that's my initial landmark I'm gonna be basing things off of. So set that to R. Okay. I'm gonna turn on wireframe on shaded, right? Because right now it's just gray. Alt and 5. Again, Alt, ALT, and 5 is wireframe on shaded. I'm gonna make this big, a lot bigger. Press R as in Robert, and I'm gonna scale this out. Right. So I'm gonna introduce you to a scale tool in terms of the constrained scale. I repeat, constrained scale. So you got your normal scales, right? Right. And you got the middle one, right? But then there's your constrained scale, which is this guy. Let me get it about a big. Okay, that's pulling on that one. And then I'm gonna pull up on my Y scale. Boom. Okay, so I'm just blocking out my initial shape. Like that. I'm just imagining this as a lunchbox. As you can see, here's my wireframe on shaded, even though I'm not selecting it, right? I'm just trying to imagine it. I know it's just a cube. It's just a freaking cube, but just to get the initial impression. I noticed that it's a little bit longer. For example, hold on. Like it's a little bit longer this way. I think it looks like it's longer this way, right? So, it's easy to, see longer. Yeah. So it's easy to, not notice those things. I'm gonna just pull it this way like that. So I'm kind of looking from the top down, and yeah, maybe I'll make it a little bit taller too, like that. Yeah, okay. So, if you look at this here, I guess you know, if you want to just punch in numbers, you could punch in like, I don't know, 26.5. What? Oof, 27 maybe. And then this one I would punch in like, I don't know, 10.5. I'm just rounding it off, and this one I'll make it like 24. Or you know what? I'm just gonna put in 10. No. 11. No, okay, fine. 10.5. Yeah, 10.5. So 27, 10.5, and 24. Okay. Alright, so got that part. And now what? When looking at this, the reference, you'll notice that it kind of bulges out as a lip, goes down, and it has another lip where it bulges out. And you know, it kind of goes around like that and like that. You notice that there's this spacing, and there's a clear border line going like this, and a clear border line going across like that. So what I'm thinking to do is to extrude out this section right here, extrude out this section right here. And I also noticed something where this top covered lid, it's it bulges out, you know, more than the bottom bevel and lip right here, this guy. And now it sticks out more, you know, but you see how skinny that is from this edge to this edge right here, whereas this one, you could see it's just fatter. It's just basically it's fatter, it's thicker than this one down here, you know, to as a design wise, you know, to distinct that this is the opening lid, right? And I want to make sure to model that in, because it does make a difference when you make footprints, imprints to place illustrations and pictures on here, you know. And also getting this extra little white bevel, you know. Yeah. Okay, so with all that, basically what I'm going to do is under my height, I'm going to type in 3. Subdivision height. So every, you know, model that comes out of the box, shape, polygon, you can go inside of what it's made out of, you know, these extra settings, and dial in some more construction lines. But these have to be these construction lines, these subdivision, because you're subdividing the object. These things should be placed soon as possible if you need them, because if you place these after you start adding edge loops and extrusions, it will wreck the model, and you might not even be able to do a Control Z to undo. So these guys should be placed right away. Yeah. So all that talking, what's the point? What am I trying to get at? Well, I'm gonna go right click, go to edge mode, hold on the right click, go to edge mode. I'm in edges component mode now, right? Double click. Okay, I double clicked, and I'm gonna here's my front. I'm gonna go all the way around. I'm also gonna double click here. Shift, hold on shift. As you can see, it turns into a plus sign. Double click. Carefully double click. Right, good. I'm gonna try to find my front view. And I'm gonna make this line here and line here. Press R for scale 2. I'm gonna carefully pull up on this yellow one, this yellow scale. Pull. Alright, so that's what that was. But you notice how I mentioned that this part here is fatter, right? So I'm gonna put the landmarks for it ahead of time. So this is gonna be the top. Double click this edge loop, and I'm gonna just with the arrow up and down at the tip of it, I'm gonna grab it, and there you go. That's what I want. I'm just imagining all these extra little bevels and everything, you know, ahead of time. I just selected it and I pressed F. I want to make this, but I'm also anticipating needing a bit of room, a couple of millimeters, to make this fat little bevel right here that sticks out. Whereas this guy down here is not as tall, this section, whatever you call it, but I still have to anticipate this little seam.